8 ways seniors learn to accept life's changes. Aging is not a process of loss. It is a passage of becoming. As the years gather gently behind us, life begins to shift in unexpected ways. The faces around us change, the rhythm of days slows, and the mirror reflects not just lines, but the stories written within them. For many seniors, these changes can feel overwhelming at first, like walking into a new season with unfamiliar skies. But in time, a quiet wisdom emerges. The understanding that change is not an enemy to resist, but a teacher to welcome. It brings both the ache of goodbye and the grace of new beginnings. In this season of life, acceptance becomes not just a choice, but a form of strength. It is the art of softening without giving up, of letting go without losing oneself, of finding peace in what is rather than clinging to what was. Through gentle reflection, honest conversations, and inner stillness, many older adults learn to meet change not with fear, but with a calm nod of recognition. As author Carl Jung once said, "We cannot live the afternoon of life according to the program of life's morning, and so we begin again, not to fight time but to walk with it, not to mourn every change, but to find meaning within it." This journey is not about aging, it's about deepening. Before we begin, if you believe in the beauty of lifelong wisdom, please subscribe and join our growing community. Swastika 1. Reframing aging as a natural transition, not a loss. There is a moment, often in the stillness of early morning or the hush of evening, when we suddenly feel it. Life has shifted. The world outside may seem the same. The trees still sway. The birds still call. The tea still steams gently in its cup. But something within has changed. The days no longer rush past with the urgency they once had. Instead, they stretch out softly like an old friend who's come to sit beside us for a while. For many older adults, the first instinct when facing change is to mourn what's been left behind. The strength once felt in the legs, the clarity of eyesight, the names that no longer come as quickly, the children who now have homes of their own. It is easy, painfully easy, to see these as losses, to feel like something essential has been taken away. But what if aging isn't a diminishment, but a deepening? What if rather than falling away, we are falling into something, into quiet, into wisdom, into grace? Aging is not the end of the garden, it's the ripening of the fruit. In youth, life is like spring, bright, bursting, loud with ambition and desire. We plant seeds recklessly, dig into every patch of soil we can find, hoping something will bloom. In middle age, we tend our gardens more carefully, raising children, managing work, protecting what we've built. But in our later years, the garden changes again. There are fewer blossoms, yes. Some plants have withered, yet there is also fruit, sweet, heavy, ripened by years of sun and storm. There is time to sit beneath the tree we once planted and feel its shade. Time to taste what we have grown, not just in our careers or families, but within ourselves. Reframing aging means choosing to see this season as a harvest, not a fading. We stop chasing what we no longer need to prove. We begin listening more than speaking. We find that meaning does not come from how fast we move, but from how deeply we notice. The body slows, but the soul deepens. Yes, the body changes. It softens, it forgets, it rests more often than before. These changes are real. They are not to be dismissed or romanticized. And yet within them, something else begins to unfold. Patience, presence, perception. Where once we rushed, now we sit longer at the table. Where once we filled every silence with conversation, now we find the silence itself has things to say. This is not loss. This is unfolding. It is the soul stepping forward, no longer eclipsed by all the noise of becoming. In cultures where elders are honored, age is seen not as decline, but as depth. The old are not seen as broken, but as brimming, with stories, with perspective, with the kind of beauty that only time can carve. A gentle reframe, I am still becoming. Reframing. Aging also means letting go of the idea that growth ends at a certain age, that we are only relevant when producing, achieving, acquiring. You are still becoming more tender, more forgiving, more able to sit in the mystery of not knowing. There are parts of you still blooming, even now. Perhaps, especially now, this does not erase the ache of aging, nor should it. But it offers a way to live with that ache, not as a wound, but as a doorway. Every wrinkle is a sentence in your autobiography. Every slowed step is a conversation with the earth. Every quiet morning is a chance to return, not to what was, but to what is still possible. Closing reflection, so let us begin here at this first and gentle turning point, reframing, not denying change, not resisting it, but sitting beside it, as we would with an old companion. May you see the mirror not as a report card of loss, but as a mosaic of your becoming. May you greet aging not with fear, but with a quiet reverence. And may you remember, every season has its purpose. And this one right now is sacred. Would you like me to continue with part 2? Cultivating daily mindfulness and present moment awareness in the same style. Cultivating daily mindfulness and present moment awareness. There is a peculiar softness to time in later life. It no longer gallops like it once did. It does not demand that you keep pace. Instead, it waits. It lingers. It invites. But to meet this invitation, one must be willing to sit still. This is where mindfulness finds its gentle home in the lives of the elderly, not as a discipline to be mastered, but as a return to something already known, the quiet miracle of now. The present moment is the only home that never changes. We often think of home as a physical place, a house with familiar walls, a garden with a bench worn smooth by years of sitting, a corner of the kitchen where the kettle hums in the morning. But as we grow older, even those places can change, can disappear. Children move away. Rooms grow quieter. The body becomes less familiar. What remains? The present moment. It is the one true home we carry with us always, the only place where life actually happens. Mindfulness, then, is not about clearing the mind or escaping thought. It is simply about coming home to this moment, to the breath, the sound of birdsong outside, the feel of sunlight resting on old hands. It is about choosing presence over distraction, and in doing so, finding peace where we are as we are. Slowing down is not laziness. It is listening. In youth, we race ahead. We plan, we schedule, we multitask. But as age settles in, the body resists that pace. We grow tired more easily. Our limbs ask us to rest. Our minds, once sharp and chasing, begin to wander, to forget. Rather than resisting this slowness, mindfulness invites us to enter it. What if forgetting was not a flaw, but an invitation to remember what truly matters? What if sitting in silence was not a symptom of aging, but a sacred practice of listening? When an older adult pours tea slowly, folds laundry with care, or sits by the window watching the rain, they are not doing nothing. They are witnessing life as it unfolds, in its most honest, unadorned form. Finding beauty in the small. And ordinary one of the quiet gifts of growing older is a heightened sensitivity to the simple. The song of a morning dove, the weight of a warm blanket, the smell of freshly peeled oranges. These small, almost invisible moments hold great tenderness. If we are paying attention, mindfulness helps us see them. It reminds us that we don't need to chase large adventures to feel alive. Sometimes peeling an apple in the afternoon sunlight can be the most holy thing. It is not about doing more. It is about seeing more. And in seeing more, we return to wonder. A gentle practice for everyday presence for those unfamiliar with mindfulness, or those who think it requires sitting cross-legged for hours. Let this be your reminder. Mindfulness can be simple. Here is a small practice, perfect for quiet mornings. The 5 sense pause. What do I see? Look around. Notice colors, shadows, shapes. What do I hear? The hum of the fridge, the ticking of a clock, a distant bird. What do I feel? The texture of your clothing, the air on your skin. What do I smell? Coffee? Soap? The faint scent of the morning? What do I taste? Even if you aren't eating, there's always a taste in the mouth. This takes less than a minute. But in that minute you are here, alive, awake, rooted in the only moment that truly exists. Closing reflection. So many of us spend our lives chasing tomorrows, but aging, if we allow it, can gently usher us into the beauty of now. May you find joy in slow mornings and quiet afternoons. May you see each breath not as automatic but as sacred, and may you discover again and again that the present moment is not just enough, it is everything. 3. Letting go of control. While embracing new rhythms, there is a silent lesson that aging whispers into the heart, not in words, but in the quiet rearrangement of life's tempo. Things we once controlled with ease now resist our grip. Tasks take longer. Bodies don't respond the same. People come and go. The familiar becomes uncertain. At first, this can feel like defeat, like the world is slipping through our fingers. But what if this loss of control is not a failure, but a freedom? What if letting go is not the end of strength, but the beginning of trust? Control is a young person's illusion. Trust is an elder's wisdom. When we are young, we are taught to manage, to plan, to predict. We control schedules, finances, relationships, outcomes. We build systems and make to-do lists, hoping to bend life to our will. But life, in its deepest truth, has never been under our control. It only takes one phone call, one diagnosis, one storm to remind us. We are passengers, not pilots. Aging pulls back the curtain on this truth, not as punishment but as invitation. To let go, to loosen the grip, to learn how to flow with life rather than wrestle it into shape. The beauty of older age is not in its control, but in its surrender, embracing new rhythms, listening. Instead of pushing, as we age, we can no longer move at the pace we once did. Mornings may take longer, tasks may stretch into the afternoon, sleep may come in fragments. This change in rhythm is not something to resist. It is something to respect. Nature itself teaches us this. No tree rushes its blooming. No river apologizes for meandering. The seasons change not by force but by unfolding. When we embrace our new rhythms, when we stop judging ourselves for needing more rest, more quiet, more help, we begin to live in harmony with the life we now have, not the one we used to know. And in that harmony, there is peace. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It's easy to mistake surrender for defeat. But letting go is not the same as giving up. Letting go means choosing rest over resistance. It means releasing the need to be in charge of everything. It means allowing others to help, to lead, to support, without feeling diminished. It means trusting that life can still hold beauty, even if we are not steering the ship. Letting go also means forgiving ourselves for the things we cannot do anymore, for the dreams that never came to pass, for the moments we wish we could relive. The older we get, the more we learn. True strength is not in holding on, it is in knowing what to release. A small practice, the exhale of surrender. Each morning, before getting out of bed, try this. Place a hand gently on your chest. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, say softly to yourself, I release what I cannot control. Let your shoulders drop. Rest in the space that opens. It is just a moment. But in that moment, your heart becomes lighter. Your day begins not with striving, but with grace. Closing reflection. There is a quiet dignity in surrender, a beauty in trusting life, even when it no longer answers to your plans. May you find strength in softness. May you find wisdom in letting go. And may you walk gently with life, not behind it, not ahead of it, but beside it, step by quiet step. Staying socially connected. Even in simpler ways, there is a particular kind of silence that creeps in as the years go by. Not the peaceful silence of dawn, but a quieter absence. The phone rings less often. Friends who once dropped by now live far away. Children are busy raising families of their own, and the long afternoons stretch out like a soft, faded quilt, familiar but empty in places. Loneliness is a shadow many older adults know intimately, but connection, true, nourishing connection, does not always require noise or crowds or busy calendars. Sometimes it's found in the smallest gestures, in simpler ways, in slower rhythms. And sometimes it begins with simply keeping the heart open. Connection changes, but it doesn't disappear. In youth, connection is loud and fast. We gather in groups, make plans, celebrate milestones. We are surrounded by the hum of community. But as we age, that hum softens. People move on. Our own energy wanes. Social calendars thin. This shift can feel like abandonment, but in truth, it's simply a change in the shape of belonging. Connection isn't gone. It's just quieter now. More subtle, more spacious. It might show up in a shared smile with the postman, a phone call that lasts just 10 minutes but lingers for hours in the heart, a neighbor waving from across the street, a cat curled beside your legs as you sip evening tea. These are threads. Thin, yes, but strong. Woven together, they make a net that holds you. Simpler doesn't mean smaller. One of the quiet gifts of aging is the ability to cherish what once went unnoticed. When you no longer need big parties, to feel seen, when a handwritten letter means more than 100 likes online, when you begin to feel the company of trees, of books, of your own breath, you realize that simpler connection is not lesser connection. It's deeper, more honest, more enduring, and it does not need to be earned. It only needs to be welcomed. Showing up in your own gentle way. There's a soft kind of courage in staying connected, in making the phone call, even if your hands tremble, in sending a postcard to a grandchild, even if they don't reply, and saying, "How are you today?" to the woman at the corner shop, even if she doesn't ask back. Each act is a small light, and many small lights together can soften the heaviest dark. You do not have to be the loudest voice in the room, you only have to be present, genuine, open, even. A short conversation can water the soul, yours and theirs. A simple practice, the 3 touchstones. At the start of each week, write down the names of 3 people you care about. Then ask yourself, can I call one of them this week? Can I write a note or message to another? Can I simply hold the third in silent prayer or kind thought? Not all connection needs to be spoken. Some of the strongest threads are invisible, but felt deeply. This practice keeps your circle alive, not through grand effort, but through steady warmth. Closing reflection. We are not meant to age alone. We are meant to age together. Though, together may look different now. May you find comfort in the simple reach of a hand. May you notice the quiet blessings of daily human presence. And may you remember, even the smallest light, offered sincerely, is enough to remind someone and yourself that you are not forgotten. Rediscovering purpose in quiet contributions. There comes a season in life when titles fade, roles shift, and the identity we carried for decades begins to dissolve. No longer the teacher, the nurse, the business owner, the provider. The calendar empties, the inbox quiets. The urgency that once defined us fades into something softer, and the question arises, who am I now, if I am no longer who I was? This question is not a crisis, it is a turning, a gentle invitation to rediscover purpose, not in doing more, but in being more deeply, not in grand gestures, but in quiet contributions, not in noise, but in presence. Purpose evolves with the soul. In the earlier chapters of life, purpose is often tied to production. We work, we provide, we build, we chase goals. Purpose is measurable, tangible, valued in outcomes. But as we age, that kind of purpose begins to lose shape, and in its place something subtler can emerge, if we let it. Purpose in later life is not about what you do, but how you are, the way you listen with your whole heart, the way you speak gently when others raise their voice, the way your presence brings calm to a restless room. You may no longer build with your hands, but you still build with your spirit. You may not lead teams, but you still lead by example. You may no longer chase dreams, but you still shape the dreams of others simply by how you live your days. Your purpose has not vanished. It has simply grown quieter and deeper. Small acts, great meaning. Think of the older neighbor who places flowers on a bench every spring, even if no one thanks her. The grandfather who tells old stories, planting seeds in a child's imagination. The widow who bakes extra bread and leaves it at the church door for anyone in need. These are not jobs, they are offerings, and each one matters. In a world that moves too fast, your steadiness is a gift. In a world full of noise, your silence can be a balm. In a world always chasing the next thing, your ability to sit still with what is, that is holy work. Purpose. Doesn't retire many people believe that retirement marks the end of purpose. But true purpose doesn't clock in and out. It doesn't rely on business cards or job titles. Its he doesn't disappear with age. If anything, it becomes more important, because now you're not living to prove anything. You're living to offer what is essential, and what is essential. Kindness, presence, wisdom, gentleness, time. All things you have more of now than ever before. A quiet practice, purpose through presence. Once a day, pause and ask yourself, who in my life might need a kind word today? Is there a simple act I can do even from home that brings someone comfort? Can I offer encouragement even silently to someone I see struggling? You don't need a project. You don't need a platform. Sometimes just being fully, gently, honestly is the greatest offering of all. Closing reflection. In this season of life, purpose doesn't shout. It sits beside you, quietly. It lights candles in dark rooms. It softens sharp edges in others, and it reminds you you are still needed. You are still woven into the fabric of the world. You are still deeply, beautifully, here for a reason. Let your days be offerings. Let your quiet presence be a blessing. And let your purpose continue, not as duty, but as devotion. 6. Finding grace in the physical changes of aging. There is a quiet moment that comes to many of us in later years, perhaps standing in front of a mirror or reaching for something we used to lift with ease, when we realize this body is not the same. The face we see is softer. The hands hold stories in every wrinkle. The knees ache after long walks. The stamina we once took for granted now comes in shorter bursts. It's tempting to mourn these changes, to feel betrayed by the very vessel that has carried us for decades. But what if we looked again, not with judgment, but with tenderness? What if we met these changes with grace, not as losses, but as transformations, not as endings, but as invitations? The body has always been changing. From the moment we are born, the body begins its quiet evolution. The newborn becomes a toddler. The child stretches into adolescence. The strong, agile adult gradually softens into something slower, wiser. We celebrate the early changes with joy. Why not the later ones with reverence? This aging body, aching, slower, marked by time, is not broken. It is seasoned. It is weathered by experience. It is the archive of every hug, every walk, every dance, every labor, every joy. To grow older is not to decline. It is to deepen. And the body, in its softening, invites the soul to rise, moving with gentleness, not resistance. The pain comes when we fight the change, when we try to force our bodies to be what they were, rather than honoring what they are. But gentleness changes everything. Gentle movement, gentle rest, gentle patience. Even walking becomes different, more sacred. Each step is not just travel, it is presence, a communion with the earth beneath us. Stretching, breathing, napping, these become acts of wisdom, not weakness. In honoring what our body now needs, we honor the life it has already given us. Beauty reimagined. The world may praise youth and smooth skin, but real beauty, lasting, luminous beauty, has nothing to do with perfection. It is found in the eyes that have seen sorrow and still shine with kindness, in the voice that may tremble, but speaks with compassion, in the slow, steady hands that have made meals, wiped tears, tended gardens, written letters, and held loved ones through decades. You do not need to look like your younger self to be beautiful. You are beautiful because of what you've lived. Each line on your face is a poem, each gray hair, a testimony, each scar, a chapter. Wear them not with shame, but with quiet pride. A gentle practice of thank you, body. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to sit quietly and speak softly to your body. Thank you, legs, for carrying me today. Thank you, hands, for all you held. Thank you, heart, for beating without being asked. Thank you, breath, for staying with me through it all. This simple ritual reconnects us to gratitude, not for what the body used to do, but for what it still faithfully offers. Closing reflection. The body is not your enemy. It is your companion, your vessel, your quiet, loyal witness through all the seasons of your life. May you learn to listen to it with tenderness. May you touch it with care. May you walk each day not with shame, but with honor. For you are not fading. You are ripening, not declining, but unfolding, not being diminished, but being revealed. And in that revelation, there is grace, allowing emotions to flow without shame. There is a quiet myth that grows louder with age, that we must be unshakable, that we should have figured it all out by now, that the older we get, the less we should feel. But the truth is far more human and far more beautiful. Even in our later years, the heart still trembles, tears still rise, waves of joy, sorrow, longing, and fear still roll through us. And that is not weakness, it is aliveness. To feel deeply even now is not a flaw. It is a testament to a heart that has not closed itself off even after all these years. The emotion is not the enemy. Many older adults silently carry emotional burdens. Grief for friends who've passed, regret for things left unsaid, worry for grown children, loneliness that wraps around the evenings. But instead of being spoken, these emotions often get swallowed, pushed down, dismissed with phrases like, "I should be over it by now," or "there's no point talking about it." Yet when emotions are buried, they don't disappear. They settle in the bones, in the breath, in the sleep that doesn't come, and they whisper, "Please, just let me be felt." There is no shame in feeling, no expiry date on tears, no age when the heart stops needing expression. The heart needs movement. Emotion is energy, meant to move like water. When we allow ourselves to cry, to laugh, to speak honestly, or to sit quietly with what aches, we let that water flow. And in that flow there is relief, softness, even healing. This doesn't mean we must always talk. Sometimes simply naming the feeling inwardly is enough. I miss him today. I feel forgotten. I'm proud of myself. I feel a little afraid of what's next. These small admissions open a window, let in a little air, let the heart stretch its limbs. You can be both strong and tender. The world often tells us we must be either wise or emotional, but the truth is, true wisdom includes emotion. You can be resilient and still cry. You can be calm and still miss someone deeply. You can be peaceful and still feel moments of frustration or doubt. Feelings do not make you fragile. They make you whole, and allowing them to exist is a gift you give not just to yourself, but to everyone who watches you age with honesty and grace. A gentle practice. Permission to feel. Once a week, set aside 15 quiet minutes. Sit with a journal or simply with your breath and ask gently, what feeling have I been carrying lately? Is there something unspoken that wants to be heard? Can I allow myself to feel it without rushing to fix or explain it? You might write, you might cry, you might just breathe deeply. Whatever comes, welcome it. Like an old friend at your door. Let your heart speak. Let your feelings rise and pass, like clouds across the sky. Closing reflection, there is strength in stillness. Yes, but there is also great strength in softness, in allowing yourself to feel fully, even now, especially now. For you are not made of stone. You are made of memory, of breath, of love, of longing. Let your emotions flow like the rivers they are, carving deeper compassion into the landscape of your soul. You have nothing to prove. You are allowed to feel, and in that permission, there is profound peace. Tunes, embracing the mystery of what comes next. There comes a point, quiet and undeniable, when the horizon begins to draw closer. Not in fear, but in stillness. Not in panic, but in deep recognition. There is less time ahead than there is behind, and this knowing does something tender to the heart. It makes the sky feel larger. It makes every birdsong sweeter. It makes silence holy. But it also brings questions, sometimes whispered, sometimes raw. What comes next? Where will I go? Will I still matter? Will it hurt? Will I disappear? These are not questions to be solved. They are mysteries to be lived. The great unknown is not empty, For much of our lives, we fear the unknown. We resist what we cannot control, predict, or fully understand. But the truth is, every new chapter, every transition, every deep transformation has come from walking into something unknown. Your first day of school, the first child you held in your arms, the moment you retired, the day you said goodbye to someone you loved. None of those moments came with full instructions. Yet still, you moved through them. You grew. You made meaning. And now, as the great final mystery draws slowly nearer, you are invited once more not to solve it, but to trust it, to let it be what it is, vast, tender, unknowable, and possibly beautiful. Letting go is a sacred act, letting go of control, letting go of attachments, letting go of what was. These are not signs of resignation. They are signs of ripening, like autumn leaves that release from the tree, not out of loss, but because the season calls them to. You, too, are part of a greater rhythm, a wider turning, a sacred unfolding, and when the time comes, you will not fall, you will return, not to nothingness, but to everything. Staying present. While awaiting the beyond, you don't have to have all the answers to live this day well. You don't have to know what comes after, to love what is here. The final mystery may be beyond words, but this present moment is fully within your grasp. The warmth of your morning tea, the breeze moving the curtain, the sound of a grandchild laughing in the distance, the feel of your own hand against your chest, still rising and falling. These are holy things, not despite your age, but because of it. You now see what the young rush past. You now feel what the busy overlook. You now know the sacredness of a single, quiet breath, and that knowing is a kind of wisdom the world desperately needs. A gentle practice, one small amen. Each evening before bed, place your hand on your heart and whisper, softly, sincerely, amen. Not as a religious ritual, unless it is for you, but as a way of saying thank you for today. I do not know what comes next, but I trust the mystery. This small practice becomes a bridge between this life and whatever lies beyond it, a reminder that while we cannot see the full map, we are still being gently carried, always. Closing reflection, and so we arrive not at an ending but at a quiet beginning, a beginning of deeper trust, a beginning of fuller presence, a beginning of peace in not knowing. To grow old is not to fade, it is to illuminate, to soften, to surrender, to shimmer with the light of all you've lived. And when the final door opens, whenever that may be, may you walk through not in fear, but in quiet wonder. You are not leaving. You are becoming part of the mystery, and the mystery has always loved you. Final reflection. The art of acceptance in life's last season. There is a certain hush that settles in the later chapters of life. It's not silence in the absence of sound, but a deeper kind of quiet, one that comes when we no longer need to chase, prove, or explain. It is the stillness of understanding, of seeing life as it truly is, imperfect, fleeting, beautiful, and choosing finally not to fight it, but to bless it, to bless the changes, the aches, the letting go, to bless the memories, the regrets, the laughter, to bless this very moment, just as it is. This is acceptance, not a passive surrender, but a sacred opening, a conscious decision to meet life with soft eyes and an open heart, even as the light grows golden, even as the days slow down. Aging is not diminishing, it is deepening. There is nothing less than in getting older. There is only more wisdom carried in, the silence between words, more tenderness in how we touch and are touched, more reverence for the ordinary things, the sun on your back, the feel of clean sheets, the sound of rain. To grow older is to walk further into the heart of what matters, to walk lighter, speak slower, and love more freely, not despite your age, but because of it. You are still becoming, even now. You are not done becoming. You are still unfolding, still learning how to be at peace with yourself, still discovering how to soften when the world hardens, still learning how to love more, with less fear. And perhaps that is the greatest gift of this final season. Not just survival, but transcendence. Not just endurance, but awakening. Not just growing old, but growing full. Your presence is the gift. You don't need to leave behind an empire. You don't need to be remembered by the world. If you have loved well, if you have listened deeply, if you have offered someone your hand, your story, your time, you have done enough. Your presence is your legacy, your stillness, a balm, your journey, a lantern for those still walking behind you. One last whisper. So as you stand now in this sacred twilight, take a deep breath and let yourself smile. You have walked far, you have weathered storms, you have grown soft in the ways that matter most, and though the road ahead may be shrouded in mystery, you carry the light of everything you've ever been. That light will not go out. It will change form. It will return to the stars. It will be remembered in laughter, in silence, in stories whispered long after you're gone. You are not fading. You are becoming light. And that is the most beautiful change of all.